Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for that great and warm introduction. It's great to be with you this morning here at the Hilton. Thank you for the warm welcome and gathering here today at the Washington Hilton for the annual conference of Gun Sense University. It's an honor to be among many dedicated advocates, activists, and community leaders who are united by a common goal to make our nation safer by reducing gun violence. Today, I'm proud to highlight the significant progress we have made together in our mission to keep guns out of dangerous hands. Our work is essential in assuring the safety and security of our communities. Thanks to the bipartisan Safer Communities Act and the tireless efforts of this administration, we are making strides in combating the epidemic of gun violence that has plagued our country for far too long. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act represents a milestone in our efforts to address gun violence. This landmark legislation, which garnered support from both sides of the aisle, strengthens our ability to conduct thorough background checks, ensuring that firearms do not end up in the hands of those who pose a danger to themselves or others. This is not just a policy victory, it's a life saving measure. And it really is. It is probably one of the most meaningful gun control measures we've had in a long, long, long time. And think about it. Um, we have made progress with this over the last couple of years. We really have, and we've got a lot of work still to do. But we are making our streets safer. We're making our country safer a little bit at a time. We're getting there, but we're doing it. One of the most critical aspects of this act is the enhancement of background checks by closing loopholes and making the process more comprehensive. We are better equipped to prevent firearms from falling into the wrong hands. This includes those with a history of domestic violence, mental illness, or other factors that could indicate a potential for harm. Our goal is simple: to ensure that only responsible, law abiding citizens have access to firearms. And in addition to that, we're strengthening background checks. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act has made significant investments in mental health services. We recognize that addressing mental health is a crucial component in preventing gun violence by providing more resources for mental health support. We're not only helping those in need, but also taking proactive steps to prevent potential tragedies. Schools, communities, and healthcare providers are now better equipped to offer the necessary support and intervention for individuals at risk. And that's one thing I'd like to talk about is is gun safety. And I remember growing up as a kid in Texas, every year we would go out hunting and with our dads. And it was always a special weekend to go out and hunt. It was a time to be with the guys and hang out and have a good time. But one of the most important things they taught us during that weekend, or those weekends, not just that one weekend, but those weekends, um, is gun safety. They taught you to respect the gun, to never assume a weapon is not loaded, to treat every weapon you touch as a loaded weapon, and to realize the implications of using that weapon. I think that's so important, and I think we need to emphasize that um, today. You know, and we touched on mental illness. I've often talked about increased mental health funding. Yes, we need that. We need that. We need to get we need to get help to those who need it. Because, one of the things I personally believe this, one of the things It takes a lot to pull a trigger. It takes a lot. And so, but I think if we have the if we have the aid available to the individual who needs the assistance without the shame of going for that aid, if we had that aid available, we could solve a lot of these problems. You know, and one of the big problem areas we have is our schools, which they should be sanctuaries of learning and growth. They have not been immune to this surge of gun violence. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act has directed substantial resources toward enhancing school safety. This includes funding for security measures, training for staff, and programs designed to identify, address threats before they manifest. You know, every child deserves to feel safe in their learning environment, and we're committed to making that a reality. You know, prized one of the things that parents do every morning is when they go to school is they drop off their most prized possession. And they do that and they entrust their child to teachers and to the staff at their schools. And it is their hope that when they pick them up at 3:15 or whatever time your dismissal time is, that they're smarter than they were 7, 8 hours ago, and that they're safe. And that they're safe. You know, we are committed to making that a reality. We're committed to making where schools no longer you feel threatened, you feel fearful, you go there to learn. But you know, our work does not end with this legislation. This administration is dedicated to fight against gun violence on multiple fronts. We're investing in community based programs that offer support and intervention for at risk individuals. These programs are essential in addressing the root causes of violence and providing alternatives to those who might otherwise turn to guns. We're also working closely with local law enforcement agencies to enhance their ability to respond and prevent gun related incidents by providing additional training resources and support. We are empowering our law enforcement officers to protect our communities more effectively. Furthermore, we are advocating for responsible gun ownership and storage practices. Education and awareness are key components in preventing accidental shootings and unauthorized access to firearms. We are working to ensure that gun owners understand the importance of securing their weapons and keeping them out of the reach of children and other unauthorized individuals. You know, the progress we have made is significant, but we must not become complacent. The fight against gun violence is far from over, and we must continue to push forward with determination and resolve. We owe it to the victims of gun violence, their families, and to future generations to create a safer, more secure America. You know, and as we move forward, I ask you to urge all of you to join us in this effort, whether it's by supporting legislation, taking part in community programs, or practicing responsible gun ownership. Each of us have a role to play in making our community safer and our country safer. Together, we can build a future where gun violence is no longer a daily reality, where our children can grow up in peace, and where all Americans can feel safe in their homes, schools, and communities. And we really can. We really can. You know, and I'm going to close with this, but I think this is so important. One of the things that I remember growing up as a kid back home in Texas, in Dallas, was the community involvement that we had with the police department. I remember this program that the Dallas police had several years ago called Operation Get Involved. And that's where the police and the community worked together. One of the neat things, and I know I was in grade school at the time, but one of the neat things they did one night was in these meetings were held at night. But one of the great things that they did was brought a police helicopter out to land it on our playground. We thought that was the coolest thing in the world. But what that did, and also they brought out their canines. But what that did, it let us it let us know not to be afraid of law enforcement, to go for them for to help. Even today, when I see a child or a student, and I say, don't be fearful of law enforcement. They're there to help you, and go for them for help. And I think if we had that program modeled after what they had in the 1970s in Dallas throughout their country, I think that's one thing that would help uh, decrease the gun violence. And it's just, it's mental health spending. I think it's a variety of different issues, but I know that my administration is doing what we can to decrease that. My goal is to make this a safer country for each and every one of us. I want to thank you very much for your time. May God bless you. May God bless our troops, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.